After the tragic events of the past week, corporations are dealing with very weak-minded employees and contractors who are going online and saying horrific things. DC is one such company, the comic maker having to fire an insane person, but they went even higher than that. Not only letting them go, terminating their position, but also everything they had been doing and working on within the company. Today, we'll tell you what companies are going to have to do as they face a torrent of terrible, anti-human employees. Hello, folks. Welcome back. Happy to have you. The studio is still shining. You might not believe it, but it is. We are still shining here in somewhere sunny USA. The blues will never go away because we believe in the goodness of you, and dare I say, the goodness of God, from which all good things come from above. And that means, folks, we shall never be defeated. We will never be mired in a desire for pain or suffering. But that's not true for everyone out there. And companies, corporations are having to deal with this, especially entertainment companies, as they face some horrifically bad takes online from their own. Will they disown them? Will they let them go? Will they fire them? We'll tell you what's going on. We'll tell you about the massive revolt that's revolting in these corporations. Click the like button, drop a comment, and here we go. All right, out of thatparkplace.com, folks, if you're not yet bookmarked to the website, well, you should be, by Marvin Montanaro. Coming out on September 11th, and it's a reminder that evil is always out there. We must always be diligent to find out where it's coming from and to push back against it in the way that Charlie Kirk did, with the message, with the good, with the truth, capital T. DC, that's the comic books. DC's Red Hood series canceled after writer Gretchen Felker Martin mocked the end of Charlie Kirk, claimed police were not people. So let's see what we got here. DC Comics has canceled its brand new Red Hood series following a firestorm of outrage against writer Gretchen Felker Martin, an individual who asserts one thing about themselves. You can see it, folks. You can read it, right? We've got a pattern now. You all know. The cancellation came after Felker Martin publicly mocked conservative commentator Charlie Kirk after the tragedy and made inflammatory remarks about law enforcement. You can see there. It was expressed on Blue Sky. It became very well known. And we could stay here and we could talk about this Gretchen Felker Martin individual for a while, and we could just absolutely trash the situation. But there's something bigger here. Something much bigger. Marvin, we've been watching across the interwebs in social medias, whether it's Blue Sky I think is the worst, but there's some other places too. A lot of these creative companies, like video game companies and comics companies, they have a very serious problem on their hands because a not insignificant portion of their employees and contractors are acting in some of the most reprehensible and anti-human ways that we've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And they should be ashamed to be affiliated and associated with these people. What are they going to do? And maybe you want to bring up the former or the creator of Kotaku, for example.
Yep. So the founder of Kotaku, co-founder of Polygon, former editor for video games for Variety / ran video game coverage for Rolling Stone, just unapologetically celebratory on Blue Sky yesterday. We have an article up on that as well. One of the senior devs from Sucker Punch, we have an article on this as well, who worked on Ghost of Yotei, has also, posted, mockery about it. That one. And by the way, I would like to thank Mark Kern, aka Grums, real quick, because he has been sharing our coverage on this kind of stuff and helping us get the word out about these people. And nothing but love and respect for him. But yeah, this is a problem. And now DC, to its credit, they never should have hired this person in the first place. They are pulling the comic book. They have canceled the run. They have fired the writer. They are refunding all retail stores because this book just came out yesterday. They're refunding all of the retail stores for all of the copies that they purchased, including the ones that they've already sold. So DC was like in the middle of the night, they made this decision, and they were just
that's about as strong as you can go, right? To say,
yep,
you're not only fired, everything you've been involved with, it's gone.
Erased.
Right.
Completely erased. So DC, good on them for that. We saw MSNBC, of course, got rid of Matthew Dowd. Now the eyes of the world are now moving on to the gaming world, because not only did this monster from Sucker Punch post these things, but their post was liked by a whole mess of game devs. Now, if you guys aren't following Grums, also, he has been following things. He's been posting screenshots from Discord, where all these game devs had this this like group chat where they were all celebrating everything. The video game world is just infested with these people, and their ideology is so cruel and corrupt. It makes my skin crawl to have to cover these people. But yeah, Grums has been doing an exceptional job of holding people accountable over the last 24 hours. Sucker Punch, especially with Ghost of Yotei about to drop, they've got to do something, and they've got to make a statement immediately.
Yeah, and Blue Sky too is a festering hole of terrible, just evil. I mean, I don't like to use the word evil. It's appropriate here, so we must use it, because here it is. Michelle, I want to ask you to weigh in on what lies in the hearts of some men and women. And Grums is doing an excellent job of exposing these extremely dangerous individuals who are out there. But what are your thoughts on these industries that built up their employee base and their contractors on this mentally deranged splats crowd that pretend to be things they are not, have hair colors that should be offensive even to a crayon box? Michelle, what's going on with these people, and how can we fix this as a society?
Well, I mean, I would say that this is a spiritual issue, that we have been living through spiritual warfare, that there has been, if you want to call it the woke mind virus, but it is at its root, it's evil. It is. And I think we are seeing that now, because any person who can cheer, who can applaud, who can just be so callous when another human being is murdered in front of your face, you are losing your humanity. As humans, we should know how precious life is, how fleeting life can be, as we all observed yesterday when a very healthy 31-year-old was shot and killed. And when you cannot have compassion as a human being for another human being's life and the lives that will be affected because of that, you have lost the plot of being a human. You are a deranged person. You need help. In my personal opinion, you need the Lord. But
I think they're dangerous to us, Michelle. Like, I genuinely think these people want you and me and others to not exist. And I don't know if they are actively working on it, but I think they're actively celebrating when it happens. And I don't see how we could view it any other way at this point.
Yes, because there has been propaganda being pumped by the mainstream media, all the different outlets, whether it's Hollywood, whether it's MSNBC, whatever it is. And they have for 9 solid years. It's almost like Gina Carano maybe warned us what would happen when we other people, and was fired for it. And Disney called it abhorrent.
Yep.
And this is the result. When you other people, when you allow yourself to say that person's a Nazi, they can be, offed.
Gina was trying to stop this. You're exactly right, Michelle.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I throw something in there?
Well,
no, go ahead, Michelle. You finish.
These people have convinced themselves that they are on the right side of history. Last thing I'm going to say, if you are cheering the death of any person that, what is Charlie's crimes here? If you are cheering the death because someone had thoughts you didn't like, let me just say you are on the wrong side of history. You are a terrible human being, and you need to repent and seek salvation for your heart and soul.
That's right. Jonas, these are the same people who, if you use the wrong pronoun, they go into a rage. These are the same people that if you forget to acknowledge the peoples that lived on your plot of land, 15,000 years ago, they go into spasms, and yet they celebrate when someone they disagree with is taken out in front of their child. They are all throughout these companies. What can be done, Jonas?
The thing that I think about here is you both brought up a very good point, and that they are saying that you don't have the right to exist if you are debating them and having different thoughts than them. But I seem to recall a few years ago that they were saying that if someone, let's say a father, says, I don't want a dude in the bathroom with my daughter in the same public bathroom or private bathroom for that matter, they would say, oh, so you're saying that person doesn't have the right to exist? Or not wanting to recognize someone's preference in pronouns, that is saying, oh, you say I don't have the right to exist? This is why their over emotional language breeds this kind of action, because they take simply saying, I have a belief system, I stand for truth, you have the right to exist, but I'm not going to kowtow to your ideas that I disagree with. They put that as some form of violence. So then they tacitly give permission to respond with violence to these people. So I think it's the same thing we've been saying today, which is respond with rhetoric. Continue to respond with rhetoric. You don't have to get on a stage, but every day when people bring these things to your attention, respond to it. And if you're not comfortable doing that, pay attention to the debaters. Pay attention to Charlie Kirk and the things that he said. Even Steven Crowder, when he would go on college campuses, I don't think he does that very much anymore, but go watch the way he handled himself when disagreeing with people politely. We disagree politely until we have to disagree with a raised voice.
The other sad thing about this is there's going to have to be a much stronger divide now between those who have any kind of fame behind them and those who could be deranged. 99% perhaps. Actually, you know what? It's probably not that high. I'm sorry. 90%, let's hope for, of the population is made up of good people who are sane and will cause no harm. But there are enough out there now, we know this, who would, and I think that you're going to see live events now. I mean, the level of security that has to be there is going to be nuts, because what have we seen? Whether you are an innocent young woman trying to take refugee status in a country that you think will give you salvation to escape a war-torn country half a world away, or whether you're the future president of the United States, or whether you're a guy who goes and talks to college students and says, let's talk about that, they'll take you out. And that means that people with any kind of fame will have to operate completely differently from here on out. I think it'll affect cons. I think it'll affect live lectures and all that sort of stuff. Vash, give us your final thoughts on this one, please.
It's unbelievably heartbreaking to see that a generation has basically been, significant portions anyway, have been radicalized to a point where, and we saw it too with what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania for sure, but also too, let's not forget what happened with, I don't know if I can say particular words, Mario's brother, let's say, with a United insurance executive, right? What happened there was profound. You had people that were either in full agreement with what he did, and to the victim, they got what was coming to them, or you had people evangelizing the perpetrator to such an extent it was disgusting. And so that all primed it, I think, for this moment right here, where you have people actively celebrating this. And as Michelle said, I mean, that is absolutely despicable behavior. I'm glad that it looks like we do have in some areas, in some industries, people calling this out, people taking action for the despicable things people are saying that they're posting. Look, I don't want anybody to be imprisoned for what they say. But at the same time, though, you know, there are consequences for you know, and I'm not trying to say that, you know, people anything physically harmful should happen to these people. That's not what I'm saying at all. But if you have an employer who is just looking to sell a product, and you're saying stuff like this about somebody who recently expired, I mean. That,
well, Vash, how's
at
this
some
one?
point, that's a reflection on that employer. But go ahead.
I don't care if you are serving French fries at McDonald's. I don't want anybody associated with at any level of any of my companies who's in a freaking death cult.
Yeah.
And these people are acting like they're in a death cult. So
Well,
I don't care if you're a celebrity or if you're working on a video game or if you're too creative and you've got your splats blue hair or if you're just cleaning up the mess in the restroom at Carl's Jr.'s.
Right.
I don't want you in a death cult if you're in any part of my company.
You know, I don't know if I'm getting ahead of the conversation here. If I am, then let me know and I'll save my comments. But the backtrackers are also like on my radar, like Jimmy Kimmel, who was just like, well, we have to stop all this political angry finger pointing. I'm like, bro, you built your career on that.
Yeah.
Stop it. You did this. Maybe take a little bit of like maybe I raised the temperature a little too much. Maybe we reached out to a lot of mentally ill people and demonized an entire half of the country for all of this time. And it was only a matter of time. Look, it's not even that it was a matter of time. They already tried. They already tried with the president last year.
Right.
Yes.
It's been a decade of calling he and all his supporters and anybody adjacent to him, anybody who they don't want you to even give him a space or speak to him. They went after Jimmy Fallon just because he was on his show 10 years ago. Vash, give us the final word.
Trump was at a restaurant only like within the last week, and they held a whole like, oh, well, you're the next coming of, you know who I'm talking about right there. This thing is fomented to such an extent, and these same politicians, like you said, Marvin, the people backtracking, they've given this political permission slip, let's say, for so long to not only demonize these people, but to also say, hey, you know what? Something happens, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It's absolutely despicable and it's wrong. And we're keeping track of that as well. It's not just the people celebrating, but it's also the people who have said stuff in the past leading up to this moment that's most profound.
Yes.
And I watched The View this morning, which all the things I've had to do, I had to watch The View this morning, and they were in full backtrack mode. So the thing that made me laugh the hardest was one of the hosts said something along the lines of like, well, you know, he was always willing to converse with people about their differences. It's a lot like we are here on this show. And I said,
Oh my!
In what universe?
Sonny Hostin is now the new Charlie Kirk in her own mind.
Oh, it wasn't
I don't
Sonny
think so.
Hostin, it was the blonde. But
Put this baby to bed. This video is over. Turn off the lights, but not quite yet, folks, because we do ask one final thing before we say goodbye, and that is, would you consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it and stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. Also greatly appreciated, anytime you would like to share this out on your favorite social media platforms, well, we would love that. And we'd also love to hear your thoughts. Folks, drop a comment down below and use that beautiful mind of yours. If you would not mind, we'd love to know what you're thinking. Also, if you would like to become a member of the channel, it's as simple as clicking the join button. It is the price of a soda per month, and you'll gain access to all kinds of new, cool, exclusive information. Folks, until the next time, we have the honor of spending time with you. Keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Jump into the water!
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun.
Want it all, so I give them cannonball. Yeah!
Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio.
Arizona. Pineapple pizza, Hawaiian ice freeze, yeah. Can't wait to be up. 3 days of you and me.
What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.